Welcome to the Totally Boise Hot Seat.
Welcome back to the Totally Boise podcast. Thanks everybody for tuning back in and listening. Today we have a very special guest, especially in the Boise community, our Mayor McLean. So thank you for joining us today. I really appreciate it. We usually give, some introduction a little bit to the guest, but I kind of wanted to let you do your story a little bit and kind of explain, who you are and what's going on currently in Boise to get us started, and just introduce yourself to the audience. So.
Oh, great. Well, thanks so much for having me. It's super fun to be here. I'm Lauren McLean. I serve as the mayor of Boise. And I probably want to share a little bit about me and my family and then talk about what's happening in Boise right now, because we've got a lot of big goals and a lot of fun things happening. But I've lived in Boise since 1998. My husband and I moved here right after we got married. We celebrated our first anniversary at the Idaho Shakespeare Festival, saw Romeo and Juliet. We've got two kids, Madeline and Aiden. They're both grown now. Madeline has graduated from college and is working, and our son Aiden is a senior in college. They grew up here, running around, enjoying the foothills and the river and everything Boise has to offer. And our experience here, the community that Scott and I found in our 20s, and the safe neighborhoods that our kids got to run around and play in. This really special place we call home, and the kind of childhood it offered my kids and my family really drives the work we do at the city of Boise to make sure that every kid can walk safely to a park within 10 minutes, that we've got homes that people that work in Boise can afford to live in, so that every family can build that life that Scott and I were blessed to build at such a young age.
Well, awesome. Thanks for being here, and obviously juggling a lot in your position always, I'm sure. But, we obviously love Boise. That's why the company's Totally Boise. And most of us here, I think, are, some of us are born and raised in Boise, but a lot of us moved here and stayed. And I think that's part of what is such a confidence, just such a good part of Boise, is that people come and they want to stay, which is kind of the best, testimonial you could give for a city. So, so I'll let Lauren kind of get going on some of our questions that we have, and they should move through kind of exactly like you said, talking about family and just kind of how you got going, and then into some stuff actually about Boise and what's new and what's next.
That sounds great.
Yeah. Well, I guess I kind of wanted to start with just the beginning of your journey, how everything started back in 2001. I'd kind of love to hear that spark moment of what got you into what you're working with right now.
Sure. Well, in 2001, there was a levy on the ballot to protect our foothills. But I'm going to rewind, go a little bit further back.
Please do.
Because that first spark actually happened in March of 98. My husband and I met in high school, got married as soon as I graduated from college. He had an extra year, so we were in Rochester, New York for him to finish out school, but got married before that last year. And we'd planned on heading west and thought we knew where we were headed, and then got a call from Micron here in Boise, and Scott had a job interview. So we're like, we were 22, 23. We're like, free trip, let's go. Not thinking we'd actually move here. And while Scott was off interviewing, as we landed, looking out the windows, it looked so beautiful. And I just got really curious about the place. And as Scott was off interviewing, I threw on my running shoes and just kind of wound my way up into the foothills. There weren't a lot of trails back then, but fell in love with Boise and knew that this is where I wanted to be. And he came back from his interview, and I kind of forgot he had an interview, and just kept talking about how amazing this place was. I couldn't believe that this place, and we had to live here. And so that was really the spark. We moved here 3 months later, and I didn't know what I was doing, right? Because it was such a last-minute decision to come here instead. So I enrolled at Boise State as a graduate student, and then got involved in the community as a volunteer on different elections, and kind of wanting to get engaged in this city that just pulled me in. And in 2001, after volunteering for a while on campaigns, a group of volunteers with the mayor at the time were working to save the foothills, set them aside so they'd be what they are today, filled with hundreds of miles of trails. And I went to a meeting as a volunteer, and then ended up getting asked to run that campaign. So that's kind of the spark, deep community involvement moment for me. Was it was a campaign that everybody thought would lose, but we had 500 volunteers over 4 months that knocked on doors, told our story, the story of what we thought Boise could be and why we love this place so much. And voters agreed, and it began that legacy that Boise City has of protecting our foothills and open spaces that continues till today. But it was in that effort that I met so many people that since have run for office, have served on boards and commissions, and I did the same then as a volunteer at the City of Boise on the Parks Board and Planning and Zoning Board. So that, that first spark I still feel today, the kind of first run into the hills and experience of Boise. But it was that first levy that set me on the path to the position I'm in now and the deep community and engagement and involvement that's been a really important part of my life.
Wow,
Awesome.
That is exciting. I mean, I love just hearing just the passion in your voice about the community, even just from so long ago. I mean, 1998 to now. It's so great to know that you were so deeply involved, even just from when you first stepped off the plane and got here. That's so amazing. But I think a big part of that, too, is, like you said, going through all those different committees and now to the mayor's office. What kind of drove you to want to go all the way through that course?
Yeah, when I decided to run for mayor, it was a tough decision because it was taking on a different role. But I decided to run because I really believed that our residents wanted this city to lean in and do more to ensure that we have housing that's affordable for Boiseans, to be a leader in the climate space because it would keep our kids healthy and create jobs of the future. And so first, as a volunteer on the Parks Commission in my 20s, I got to learn a ton about the Parks Department and help plan parks and set aside land that are being built now, which is so cool to see. And then when I served as a volunteer on the Planning and Zoning Commission, I did it because I could have more impact on the neighborhoods and city that I loved and make decisions about homes and parks and all those things, how they connect, and transportation. Served on the city council because I saw it as a way to have more impact in my community on a part-time basis. But ultimately, when I decided to run for mayor, it was because I felt it was very, very important to have a laser-like focus on housing affordability, climate action, so we're a safe, healthy, and welcoming city for everyone.
Yeah.
Right.
I got a quick question. What is the coolest part about being the mayor that you didn't expect that you get to, that you happens in your daily life?
Yeah, I'd say that the coolest part, and you kind of know it'll be this way, but you don't know until you're in it. It's that wake up, breathe until you go to sleep thinking about the city and the people that I love. And so, the first thing I do in the morning is read the paper and then start reading documents and looking at my day and figuring out how the day is going to go. The last thing I do at night is another scan, right? And the in between, the time when I get to work with our City of Boise employees, that I cannot believe how passionate they are about serving our residents. And then that's amazing. And then heading out into the community and sitting in a classroom with kids that can all tell me how far their walk is to their park. Or, being at a Rotary where you've got people that have just moved here and people that have lived all their life here in service to the community, talking about and working for Boise. It's like this beautiful Boise bubble all day, every day. Mm-hmm. And it's really, really special and so much more deeply felt than I would have expected.
Yeah, that is really cool. One thing I know about kind of what you're saying with stuff out here being built and working with the City of Boise employees is things get done pretty fast and efficiently out here. I want to talk about the new clubhouse at Warm Springs because I'm a golfer. What a beautiful place that is. I mean, I used to bike that every day, but being out there now that it's built, it's such a big upgrade, and that's a city-owned course, correct?
It is, and and we did it so fast.
Yeah, incredible.
Yeah. So I love that you called that out. We do. So the Parks Department has 2 golf courses that are public courses, great programming. And for years, we knew and we'd heard from the community that they'd like to see something more than a trailer at Warm Springs.
Yeah.
And in fact, when I was on the city council, there was this amazing group of women, this group of golfing women at Warm Springs were like, we got to do this, we got to do this. And we knew we needed to, but funding was an issue. Mm-hmm. This is a great example, though, of Boise at its best. A resident came forward and said, look, I want to help you. An anonymous donor said, I've got X. Do you think you can make this happen? And we said, "Oh my goodness, we're going to figure this out," because it was a window of opportunity where we suddenly had a funding partner that wanted to be a part of this solution and help us do it. And then the City Boise team got super creative on how we could fund it immediately. And we did it actually with like loans against other parks facilities and stuff, all internally. So we had the cash to build it.
Nice.
And
Wow.
now we can pay it back really quickly.
Yeah.
But it got built on time and on budget and like so quickly because a Boisean said, "I want to help you." And we said, "Okay, we've got a partner. We're going to get this done." And it is.
That
I'd
is
encourage
awesome.
everybody to go check it out because it's not just for golfers.
Yeah, no, it's
There's
it's
breakfast,
awesome.
so it's like
Yeah.
another breakfast diner addition to the city, and it's all really well priced. There's lunch. There's a bar. I've gone out there and just sat and relaxed and looked at the beautiful view. You can see the green and the foothills and the trees along the river, and watch people golfing. I don't golf, but it's a great place to be, and it just love it's like Boise partnership, getting things done in a microcosm right there.
Yeah.
Along the Greenbelt, anybody can stop and take advantage of this great new spot.
Yeah, that's a great story, and it's a great course, great clubhouse. It's as a golfer, the city ran courses are beautiful and they're great courses. So
That's what Scott
all
and I
you can
say
ask,
we're going
right?
to learn. We're going to go learn how to golf.
Golf is
It's on our list of things we want to do.
Once it gets you, it doesn't let you go. So be careful.
Don't worry about that.
I
Takes a
feel
lot of
you.
time.
Yeah.
My
Do you wanna-
family, yeah.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. My family all took up golf like 2 years ago.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm like the last person in my family that still hasn't gotten right there yet. But I love a great golf
Yeah.
course and a clubhouse with a good view.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
hey, I love that it's for everybody. Beyond some of us that probably need to get a little more active in it.
There's something about the serenity of being out on a golf course, even if you're just looking over it, having breakfast. So, do you want to get into some of the
Yeah,
Boise
for
goals
sure.
and the updates? Cool.
Well, I know that we have a couple new goals that are on this obviously huge list of yours that you have, but I know that some big ones you've been looking into obviously are just climate goals and housing goals. And between those, I mean, more on like a personal level, which of those goals are you maybe like most excited about or just optimistic about seeing them come to fruition in the community?
I don't even want to choose between the two because I see them as closely linked and both vitally important. And just, I really believe that if we set goals, even if we know they're going to be hard to achieve, and we work like hell to achieve them, we've done more than if we had just set goals that we knew we could achieve, right? Like, why pick a race to run if you already know you could go do it tomorrow versus like picking something that you're going to have to like try really hard to finish. It's kind of that idea. And our city residents and our community has embraced that, I believe. So we set clear goals on housing. I'll talk about housing first because that matters so much to the community.
Absolutely.
And I got to be clear. Like, we need the entire region to partner on housing, but Boise's going to do everything we possibly can in partnership with our residents to meet the needs. And so we set a goal of 2,500 homes affordable at Boise budgets by 2026. And we're like ticking off that goal. In fact, there's a lot of homes or I should say 1,250 homes at Boise budgets. We've opened over 500 already.
Nice.
And these are homes that are built on city land by private developers in a public-private partnership that with agreements on affordability. And we've got a whole bunch more in the development and construction process right now. And in some of these, I'd say it's almost a microcosm of all of our goals because we opened Franklin and Orchard last fall. Those are homes for folks that make below the average median income in our community, but it's an average. So there's also market rate homes in these apartments. So you're living with all kinds and sorts of people. And 10% of those homes were dedicated by the owner of the apartment complex to families exiting homelessness.
Oh, wow.
And so we've had working folks move in, families that have exited homelessness move in, all living right next to a park with childcare that's opened on the first floor along a transit corridor so those parents can get to work, the kids can walk safely to a park in a lot less than 10 minutes, and childcare is such a pressing need in our city, and now 89 kiddos have childcare spots right there at Franklin and Orchard as well.
Wow.
And we did the same thing with another developer on State Street next to Taft Elementary School. We just opened that last week.
Okay.
And it's the same idea. Homes for folks that are, working people, average and below median income in Boise. 10% of those homes were dedicated by the developer to families exiting homelessness. It's right next to a school, so the kiddos run out the backyard and over to school if they're in elementary school on a bus line. Again, it meets so many of our goals in on one piece of property. And it's illustrative of how we're addressing both homelessness and affordable housing in unique Boise ways, because we have the land. But we're not going to build and manage homes.
Right.
So
Right.
we seek private partnership with developers that agree that they're going to keep these homes affordable. And it also helps us meet our climate goals, because folks can jump on a bus, they can walk to school, you drop trips, and you can get to parks. And so it's everything all in one. And looking forward to some of the future ones that will, include our geothermal system and other innovations tied to climate as well.
Awesome. So it takes a village, it sounds like, right?
It really does. And this is the Boise way.
Yeah.
We've always addressed challenges. And when I say Boise, not the government, it's part of it, but the entire community of Boise. We address challenges, see them as opportunities, come up with solutions together, and put people first.
Yeah, absolutely. On the climate side of that, you're talking about, public transportation and stuff like that. Talk a little about the walkability of Boise and downtown, and how does that play into the climate goals, and what are just some of the big initiatives that you have going in the future, and how do you see it from a big picture?
Well, I'll talk about why climate action is so important for our city from a big picture perspective first. First off, our residents expect us to lead. Boiseans understand that if we want our kids to be healthy, we need to protect our clean water and clean air. We need to have a walkable community where kids can get to parks so that they have ways to engage, be outside, and again, stay healthy. Boiseans also know that it saves us money in the long run. So if we as a city are working with our power company to ensure that we've got clean electricity into the future, we're going to save money in the long run because we're mitigating risk that comes with climate. Our residents want us to make sure that we have clean water in the future. So back 4 years ago, 82% of Boiseans said yes to a clean water and climate action bond that made it possible for us to start building a facility that recycles water so that we can use recycled water for industry. So to create semiconductor chips and all these other things for businesses so that clean drinking water can just be used for people, and we can recycle that used water for business.
Wow.
And so that's part of our climate goals. There are basic things like we want to double our tree canopy, because when you have shade in a community, there's a couple things that happen. One, people are more likely to be outside, so then you get to know each other. And kids, when they're walking through those neighborhoods to get safely to a park, have eyes on the street, so they're even safer.
Right.
It cools our neighborhoods, which means residents can save money on their cooling bills in the summer because everything's a little cooler. We are looking at how we make sure that we've got parks, pathways, and open space throughout the city. I'm going to touch again on our 10-minute walk to a park or pathway goal, because it guides where we're buying parks, and so many of those pieces of land we're buying are in West Boise and Southwest Boise, because we know where kids can't walk to a park safely within 10 minutes, so that's going to guide it. But that gets more open spaces where you can have trees, cool things down.
Right.
Also, get kids outside, keep them healthy. And we sit on top of the largest geothermal system in the country, and that the city of Boise operates right downtown.
Wow.
And that also, it's clean heat. So it's another climate goal. It creates great opportunity for businesses. In fact, 90 buildings downtown are heated with our geothermal system, and there's 17 buildings on the waiting list. It creates an opportunity for innovation as we think about how we use that for cooling in the future, so jobs and innovation. It also meets our climate goals because it's clean heat and it's affordable heat in the long run, so it saves people money. So all of this, I think, is really connected. And now we're looking at, in fact, we're the finalists for $1 million prize from the Bloomberg Foundation. We're looking at how we can extend our geothermal system to affordable housing and heat multifamily housing and build in affordable ways individuals with geothermal heat.
Wow.
And then we'll also look at how we use that to cool in the future as well. And so if we win this prize, we'll get to extend the system and kind of innovate around clean heat and affordable housing over on Lusk Street across from Boise State.
Wow, that's awesome. Boise's really kind of developed the label of an innovative city, and Boise State as an innovative college, I think, in the last 5 to 10 years. But what you're saying, I don't think a lot of people know about all that. That's some pretty cool stuff and so is the city leading a lot of those initiatives?
All of those things I just mentioned, the city's involved with. However, we couldn't do it without partners.
Yeah.
So when we look at our clean electricity goals, Idaho Power has committed to be a partner.
Right.
And we just negotiated the first power purchase agreement, which means we have a guaranteed price for electricity that is powering the Boise Airport and our water treatment facilities, our water renewal facilities, with 100% clean electricity and solar that they built.
Wow.
To do the housing, it's the developers that are working with us. It's our geothermal system, but in partnership with the developers. Even in planting the trees, it's residents that have signed up to be tree captains and a local nonprofit, the Treasure Valley Canopy Network, that helps make this happen. It's a city goal in partnership with nonprofits and individuals. So in all of these things, yes, the city's involved, but we could not do it without the deep desire of Boiseans to be partners in all of this work.
Yeah, that is awesome.
Absolutely.
That really speaks to the community, just how involved everybody is on it.
Yeah. Well, one of my favorite things that you're working on right now is that idea of every child should be within 10 minutes of a park. I think that is incredible, especially this is a growing economy. A lot of young families are starting here, moving here from out of state. I just out of curiosity, how many of those parks are currently kind of coming to fruition, or how many are planned for this upcoming year?
Yes, the 10-minute walk to a park goal is one of my favorites. And, I think about it from my kid's perspective. Like Aiden, when he was little, he could run out the door, and I had no doubt that he would be able and would make it to a park in a safe way. We had, lots of shade trees, people on their front porches, eyes on the street. But he could get there in less than 10 minutes, and I'd let him run out. And I want every kid to be able to do that because it's so joyful to just hear the "bye, mom," door slammed, and he's gone.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
And Boiseans love our parks, and I want every kiddo to be able to do that, and every mom and dad to feel that this works okay. So we set this goal and have done heat maps and know where people can't do this yet. And it's guiding where we acquire property for parks in the future. Right now, 74% of Boiseans will be able to walk safely to a park once everything's developed with the land we've acquired. And that means 26% of our residents can't. And that's guiding where we're buying pieces of land for parks in the future. Parks and pathways, I should say. Because if you can get to a pathway within 10 minutes, then you're in open space outdoors. That'll lead you to a park somewhere.
Right.
But it's something that is the community is really latched onto. Mm-hmm. I hear about it often. I am intent on ensuring that we've hit 100% while I am mayor. Because every kid deserves this. Every family deserves this. And kids know where their parks are. I was at Longfellow School a couple weeks ago with third graders, and I mentioned this goal, and it almost derailed the whole conversation because then every child wanted to tell me how long it took to get to a park from their house, and they all knew.
Wow.
I was fascinated. One kid was like, "It's around the corner." Another kid was like, "It's definitely more than 10 minutes. I have to get in a car." My Nana says it's 11 minutes. Everybody knew, and then they all started naming the parks that they go to and the parks that they like the most that aren't in their neighborhoods. And so it told me once again how important this is for our families.
Yes.
Because they're great places for families to go, for kids to go and play, for you to meet your neighbors. And it does and will guide the work that we do to make sure that there's parks and pathways for everyone.
That's awesome. I really like, and I think probably a lot of the residents appreciate. It's a very actionable and trackable goal. A lot of times from different cities and stuff, you hear goals that they sound nice, right? But they're either politics or marketing speak. That's super actionable. You guys have the percentages of where you're at, where you want to go, and that is pretty fulfilling and pretty awesome, I think.
Yeah.
And I agree. Like when you brought up parks, I was going to bring up parks. I was, I know the park right by my house. I know all the ones I drive by. What if you have one? I know you don't have to. Do you have a favorite park in Boise? Do you have one that you love to go to?
Oh, I have different parks for different reasons. And as mayor, my list of favorite parks has definitely expanded.
Yeah, I'm
because
sure.
I visited them all.
Yeah.
The slide at Franklin Park is so fun. I've actually climbed up to the top of that slide and slid down. I love that. The park in the skate parks that we've built.
Oh, yeah.
In
Roads
different neighborhoods.
Too.
Roads predated me. I was on council when we did that. We've added some skate pocket parks that I think are really fun. And I spend so much of my time running in the foothills that that's where, like, if I'm going to go somewhere, I tend to just grab my dog and head up into the hills.
Yeah.
But if Scott and I are to go sit and have a picnic at a park, I really do. There's a little pocket park around the corner from our house. I mean, it's where like one house used to be. It's such a tiny park. But when the kids were little, they'd run over there. It's called McGowan Park. Like, you'd never find it if you weren't in the neighborhood. I mean, it's on a map, but but it shows like how great a teeny tiny spot can be for kids and families.
Totally.
And then, of course, Scott and I love to bike down to the Greenbelt and then just hang out and watch people in Ann Morrison and walk through Albertsons and visit Julia Davis. But there's just so many great parks. We opened our 100th park this year.
Oh, wow.
Congratulations.
And we had a little 100 balloons and did all the things. Cool. But it's another great example of how parks in a growing city can be reimagined. It's a linear park, and we call it Settler Canal Path, because the Settler Canal Company donated the land after residents asked if they thought we could do something to make it a park. And we approached the canal company, and they said yes. So we said, let's get this done. And it makes it really so that in West Boise, you can easily walk from Spalding Ranch. We're building a pathway right now near Capitol High School, so you can jump from Spalding Ranch Park over to the pathway in Capitol High School, get into Settler Canal Path, and make your way to Hyatt Wetlands. Wow. So it's connecting all these areas that opened over 1,000 families to be able to walk within 10 minutes to a park or pathway.
That's awesome.
And then Kaisho Corner downtown, if you haven't visited, is our 101st park. And we opened that on the eve of Hyaldi. And Kaisho is a Basque word for like hello, but it's more than just hello. It's like welcome. I like to say hello with a hug. It's just it's this welcoming word.
Where's that one at exactly?
It's at the corner of it's just across from the Bass Block and the Bass Center. The corner of 6th.
I know what you're talking about.
And it has great art installation, and it's been so fun. Just the other day I ran by it, and kids from a daycare were there, and they were using the chairs as slides. Like, it was so fun to see these little 3-year-olds like scrambling up these art chairs and sliding down and just taking advantage of the open space right there downtown.
That is awesome, especially to provide it downtown. And I mean, I love Boise's downtown out of all the downtowns I've been to, but it still is a downtown. To have parks down here is pretty cool because people still live down here. Families still live down here.
In fact, more people live downtown now than they did 5 years ago.
Wow.
Like, we've got 2,000 new homes downtown.
Right.
And so a lot of families, individuals that are living downtown now.
Yeah. Well, that's awesome. All right, shifting gears just a little bit. What about business-wise for Boise? So, I mean, there's so many businesses here that have benefited so much from the growth over the last, you could go 5, 10, 20 years, whatever you want to say. What excites you for business in Boise? You know, why is it a good time to be in business in Boise? And just how do you feel about that, that current industry here?
Yeah, I mean, we've got a great business environment. And recognizing that affordability is a real issue for our residents, it becomes there's such an imperative to ensure that we've got good paying jobs in Boise. So I'm excited for Boise right now with Micron's announcement a couple years ago, and you've seen that facility. They're just building.
Incredible.
That would be thousands of jobs, high paying jobs, and then the impact of that, I believe, will help be to spur even more opportunities for innovation in the city, as well as all the ancillary jobs of tech suppliers that are announcing that they're creating jobs in Boise to support that project. So there's that. I'm excited by the growing kind of tech and innovation scene that we're seeing in Boise. It's so different than it was even 5 years ago in terms of the number of folks that are starting businesses, the businesses that have been funded and privately and then actually gone public. Great news there. We're seeing a lot of growth where people are bringing their jobs, their remote jobs here. Yeah. It is my goal, as well as the goal of the business community, to ensure that we've got jobs that people can have in Boise, so that they're even more invested in the city.
Right.
Our unemployment rates are lower than regional or national averages, even than the state average. And we're working in great partnership with business leaders to ensure that we've got the homes and transportation networks we need to support this thriving business climate that we're intent on growing into the future.
Yeah. Absolutely. I agree with you on the innovation. I mean, a while ago, I've heard Boise referred to as like the mini Silicon Valley, but really there's a lot of innovation with tech and AI and just a lot of people here willing to push the limit. If you're willing to go network for it, there's a lot of people here that are pretty innovative in in that side. I personally loved when we got In and Out. And I mean, that was like the check mark for me. But, and I mean, for a lot of people, I think a lot of those bigger places come in and looking at Boise and trying to establish roots down here just shows the growth that we've had over the last 10 to 15 years. Yeah. I know it's not local, but for a lot of people.
I'm more of a local burger person myself, but my husband was very excited about In and Out. Yeah. He's like, can we go to the ribbon cutting?
It's like a status. It's like a status symbol. Once we got In and Out, we've made it at least a little bit. Yeah.
Put us on the map a bit, right?
Yeah.
Like Nordstrom when.
Yeah.
Gosh, so many things. But
I know. I often hear like, can we just get a Nordstrom's? Can we get an IKEA? Like, there's a couple things that I hear from people. Then we'll know we've made it, right?
Yeah.
Right.
A transit line and IKEA.
There we go.
IKEA is wow. IKEA is the one.
I guess that's a good question for you, actually. Is there something that you're really wishing and hoping will come into the Treasure Valley area?
Oh, you know what? I don't think about it in that sense of like the one anchor thing. I love hearing what people have to say, and I love all the places they suggest. What I appreciate most about our business environment and even like downtown shopping environment is how local it is.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Agreed.
That my kids grew up on West Side Drive-In and Boise
sure.
Fry
Yeah.
instead of McDonald's. And you can still go to Pack Out and Fancy Freeze and get ice cream. That you can be downtown or up on the bench, and there's locally owned gift shops and places to shop. I love that.
Mm-hmm.
And so as long as we are creating an environment where local business can thrive, if there are anchors that come in to help that, I say that's wonderful.
Mm-hmm. To your point earlier, I've noticed, at least in the last 5 years, a lot of people opening businesses here from other places, especially in the food space, like moving from where they have originally started their place and coming
like
to
striking
open here.
out on their own here.
Yeah, and coming to make it local here because...
And we're seeing that with businesses, with restaurants, with wine, and with beer. Like all of those things I'm seeing where folks like cut their teeth somewhere else and say, we want to do it ourselves and we're going to do it in Boise. And it just creates such great opportunities for us to enjoy all of this stuff while they're building their businesses.
It does. And I think that speaks to the environment of how much people do support and like local here, because it is easier to get a local support when people are into the community and into buying local. This kind of leads into the next question. For people who want to get more into the community of Boise and want to help out, you talked about your spark was volunteering back in the day, with something that really inspired you. What is the easiest way for them to get involved? What would you recommend? I know it might not be a linear path, but what are some places that they can go?
Oh, I mean, you can look left, right, up, and down, and there's opportunities. And so I would encourage anybody that lives in Boise that wants to get involved. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can do it. The Chamber of Commerce has a great Boise Young Professional program that for younger folks. I was just there yesterday. A whole bunch of people that are getting more involved in their community. They have conversations with CEOs. They have volunteer opportunities. There's that. The Chamber has a Leadership Boise program, which will expose people to all sorts of elements of how like a community works, both public and private.
Okay.
The city has boards and commissions. And we are, like I mentioned, I was on the Parks Board, the Planning and Zoning Commission. We have the Arts and History Commission. We started a Climate Action Advisory Council and had over 200 people apply to be on it. So this was shocking and exciting all at once. It demonstrated again how much Boiseans love volunteering. Mm-hmm. There's nonprofits, of course, in the service space of working with families exiting homelessness, working with kids. There are conservation groups, and there's political campaigns. Right now, we've got an open space ballot measure on the ballot to do what we did in 2001 and again in 2015. If Boise says yes again, we'll be able to protect even more foothills. We'll add more parks and pathways. But there are folks volunteering a couple days a week. I'm knocking on doors, talking to their neighbors about this levy campaign through Conservation Voters. So there are so many ways that somebody can get involved in their neighborhood associations and their schools. I think what makes Boise so special is that people like to do it. Mm-hmm. And for somebody new, it can be intimidating or kind of scary to pick up the phone and say, hey, I want to do this, or just show up for the first time. But my sense of things, both from my own experience and then hearing from residents, is that we welcome you in. You are welcome. We are so glad you're here. So I encourage anyone to show up at a thing that looks interesting to them. They will find fast and ready friends and have an impact on this city that really gives them such a richer and deeper life than even they're giving to the city, right? It's a
Yeah.
way that we create community and connection as we continue to grow.
That is awesome. Yeah, I completely agree as far as getting involved. Kind of going on what you said, do you want to talk a little bit more about the open space levy?
Yeah.
Just kind of what that is and what's going on with that?
This year, on November 4th, Boiseans have the opportunity to vote yes on a levy that, if it passes, would allow us to continue to protect our foothills and open space, increase access to pathways through the city, increase access to parks, and make sure that we're kind of mitigating the impacts and protecting our community from the impacts of wildfire. It would raise about $11 million, which is $40 a year for the average homeowner in the city of Boise, and follows the legacy of this city that first did it in 2001, then in 2014, of raising money to protect foothills and open space. And so far the city has had, because Boise said yes, $20 million.
Wow.
And we have now property and access valued at over $40 million that residents will enjoy forever. So when you look up in those foothills and you see that they're open in ways that are so unlike other cities, it is because of past levies. We have over 200 miles of trails that families enjoy. And this levy on November 4th gives us the opportunity and Boiseans the chance to say yes again, to continue this good work, to ensure that as we grow, we continue to have more and more opportunities for our families to get outside. And just to be clear for everybody listening, the open space clean water levy that's on the ballot is only for 2 years.
Okay.
So that's $40 for the average household for just 2 years.
Awesome.
And that raises $11 million that allows us to continue the legacy of Boiseans before us that said yes twice to $20 million total. And now we've got over $40 million worth of parks and open space set aside with that money. And we are going to do it again and continue to build on this legacy of protecting places for our kids and grandkids.
Wow, that's
Awesome.
Incredible.
Awesome. Is there anything else on November 4th that you would really like to talk about?
Yeah, I mean, we've got city elections, and
Right.
so this is interesting because it's the first time that the city of Boise has own districts.
Okay.
So we had districts when I ran 2 years ago, but every seat was up because it was a new law from the legislature that said you have to have districts in Boise races. So this year, only 3 seats are up. So the people that live in 3 districts can go and vote on their city council members. So Jordan Morales is unopposed in Southeast Boise. He's up for election. Jimmy Halliburton is running. He has a couple of opponents. And then our council president, Colin Nash, is running, and he has a couple of opponents. So Boiseans have the chance to go vote for these council seats. These are members that are very, very focused on affordable housing, parks, climate, have really delivered, and they're very involved in the community. But then all of Boise can show up and vote for the levy.
Yeah.
Okay.
How
So I
can
would
we
encourage
get out?
all residents to show up and vote. And on how to vote,
Yes.
on election day, you go vote where you would normally vote on at any other election, but you can also start to early vote.
Oh.
So if you want to vote early, you can come on down to City Hall.
Nice.
And if you head in to vote, so you can live anywhere in Boise and actually anywhere in Ada County and vote at City Hall. If you're there and you want to say hi, I love it when people are downstairs voting and then pop up to my office. If I happen to be there, I'll run out and say hi. Would love to see folks after they voted.
That's
Cool.
great to know.
Awesome. So just for clarity, because I know a lot of people know obviously how to, like, they vote for president, they vote for the big ones, but for city council stuff, so are they voting for people who live in their actual district? They have
Yes.
to live in there to
You
represent them?
You've got to live in your district to sign up to run in there, just like in the legislature and any other, like the Congress, legislature. This is new for Idaho, but now it's some cities as well.
Awesome. So they're voting for people who have, a lot of pull in their literal
Yes.
communities in their districts
Yes.
where they live. So
Yep.
definitely important to get out there and vote. Absolutely. So, okay, cool. All right. Well, one question I had, and feel free to answer this as much as you want to get into it, but there's a lot of, with so many students at Boise State being from out of state and so many parents coming here all the time, people are always looking for stuff to do in the holidays, and it's a big time for people to come visit.
Yeah.
Do you have favorite holiday activities in Boise? What's your favorite things to go do over the next couple of months, and what are some things people should check out?
I love the holidays in Boise. There are so many things to check out. So I'll start with Thanksgiving. There's of course the turkey trot on Thanksgiving Day.
Right.
It's fun Thanksgiving race. Although sometimes we start it with my family and then it's like nobody in my family wants to finish the short race and we peel off and like end up having coffee or something. It's kind of funny. The tree lighting happens the Friday after Thanksgiving, and that really kicks off the holiday season for downtown. We've got beautiful lights hanging over the streets, and there'll be painted windows and all the shops celebrating the start of the holidays with the tree lighting and then Small Business Saturday. And then this year we're going to have holidays on the Grove, so stay tuned, but there will be programming and activities on the Grove Plaza through the holiday season. And so I'm really looking forward to that. It's a great partnership with different folks in the city. And then other fun things. I'd encourage people to look up the Nutcracker is, I think, the second weekend in December.
Okay.
Right.
And the Boise Philharmonic is actually showing Home Alone at the Morrison Center with the Philharmonic doing the music.
Oh, really?
The Saturday after Thanksgiving.
Oh, wow.
So, I mean, there are so many things, and a lot of like small community groups have Christmas chorales and Christmas music nights at local churches. There's a lot of stuff to do.
That is awesome.
Wow.
And then, of course, we're all trying to guess when we get to start skiing at Bogus, because that's when, then it feels like winter and the holidays have really started.
Yeah. Well, now it's been how long is it going to go on into the
Right,
next
and how
year?
long,
That's
right?
the
Like how many
question.
months of the year can we ski this year?
Yeah. Well, yeah, and I love the Egyptian when they play the old school Christmas movies throughout the holidays, going to see some of the old Nightmare on Elm Street and stuff. It is a great place to do the holidays is Boise. There's nothing like it.
Yeah.
Being downtown and walking around and just enjoying the vibes, honestly, of the city. Yeah.
Yep.
All right, cool. Well, last thing we really want to do is just ask a couple of fun questions about you. First one is you have one night you have to watch one movie. You only get one more movie for the rest of your life. What movie are you watching?
Oh my God, that's so hard, and it shouldn't be. My husband's been cracking up if he knows I was getting asked this question because I can never remember names of movies. In fact, just the other day I was like, I watched this great movie on the airplane. He's like, what was it? I don't know. But it was about this. Like, I really liked this. Let's see, what would that one movie be? See, these are terrible, hard questions for me. Oh, it would be Love Actually.
Love Actually.
Yes. I
That's a good
saw
one.
Love Actually in the theater when it came out with a whole bunch of girlfriends. We were at the Flicks. And even before it was a thing, I bought it on a VCR tape or whatever those things were called. And I watched it every year by myself.
That is cool.
And then probably the last 10 years, I've watched it with my kids and my husband too.
Yeah, awesome. Okay, now what about first keeping it kind of local? Where are your favorite places to go day trip and stuff outside of Boise? What else in Idaho do you really like and what should people check out?
There are so many places to check out. And I mean, just above Boise, at Bogus Basin now, in the summer, there's a lot to do up there. Mm-hmm. I really love the Around the Mountain Trail to bike or run. But there's great things that are shorter walks for families as well. I'm actually looking at, I'll even run up to Stanley for a day from time to time. So my birthday's coming up soon, and I'm going to sneak up and hike to Sawtooth Lake and then come home that day. So it's a day trip. It's a long day, but beautiful. Kirkham Hot Spring on the way is amazing. There's just such great backcountry access. In the winter near Idaho City, we backcountry ski there a lot.
Yeah.
Great places for folks to go.
Yeah, Idaho City's awesome. All right, and then you talked about, right, Rochester to Boise. That's not a short trip, right? My dad's from upstate New York, so I'm kind of familiar with it. What are your favorite places in between, right? What are your favorite places that you like to go in America outside of Boise?
So I have to say that was almost 30 years ago. I don't know if any of the things in between still exist. When Scott and I drove from Rochester, we actually followed the Oregon Trail and made the 4 days of per diem and travel allowance he had from Hewlett-Packard last for 3 weeks. We camped, we did all the things. We've never done that again. Other places I like to go in America. I mean, this sounds not true, but it really is true. When people ask me where else in the West I've been, I realize we've spent so much of our time in Idaho, backpacking in the White Clouds and in the Sawtooths, above McCall. We did a really fun trip one summer where we followed different parts of the Lewis and Clark Trail across North Idaho and stayed in fire lookouts above the Lochsaw. But then when if we go to other places, I really do love exploring like national parks.
Mm-hmm.
But also recently I've been saying to my husband, we should probably explore some cities in a little different way too. We haven't done that in a long time.
Yeah.
For us, we tend to find places to go where we can spend time outside.
Yeah. Well, Boise is a hard place to leave, you know, like it's one of those places that you take time off work. It's like you want to just stay in Boise because it's so nice. And I love flying back in here. So, and there's a lot to explore in Idaho. Like you said, I mean, you could spend a lifetime exploring
you
just
could
in
spend
Idaho.
a lifetime. I mean, we've spent 30 years and we still haven't seen half of it, right?
Yeah.
We've been, in the first couple of years I lived here, I had a job that took me to all but 2 counties. And so I've seen the state, but I haven't seen all the backcountry of the state in a way that I'd really like to.
Right.
Right. Absolutely. Awesome. I actually have a couple questions, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
Okay. So your perfect day, if you were to wake up and have your perfect day in Boise, what would that look like?
Sure. You know, my brother was here recently and I gave him some things to do and then it was raining. He's like, it's raining. What do I do? And I was like, wait for it to stop raining. Like, I don't know, right?
Make the most of it.
I didn't know what to say. Yeah. And of course it stopped raining like right away. My best day in Boise would be to wake up, to have like the time to do a long run up into the foothills and watch the sunrise. Then to come down, grab coffee or breakfast on the way back home, like after my run, like at Certified or somewhere in Hyde Park. And then I love to send folks on walking tours. So to walk along Grove Street with the new neon signs and to see all that has been built. It's just a fun walk. And then there's new historic signs there. Follow that, read the history of Boise's immigrants and others. Head down to the river and take a stop at the Anne Frank Memorial and then spend some time on the river and then cross over to Boise State for a bit to feel some of that energy.
Yeah.
Come back, kind of finish around the Bass Block with afternoon tapas and wine and then head home. Like it's that kind of day that I absolutely love having in Boise. The other day that I love to spend is similar. I'd always want to start it with a run or a mountain bike ride up in the hills. But then to jump on my bike and follow the Greenbelt and go over to Garden City and visit some of the spots there, the parks. You can watch the surfers. I don't surf. Get a paddleboard for Quinn's Pond and then head over and try a glass of wine and have something to eat on the Garden City side too. Is the other kind of perfect day and it still ended on the Bass Block in Boise.
Yeah, that sounds nice to me.
I love that. I guess this kind of ties into your brother came into town, but for somebody who maybe doesn't live here or maybe is just here for the weekend, what's like the one thing they have to do while they're visiting?
The one thing.
Or it can be a couple.
I mean, really, I would encourage folks to, if you're here and you've got a day to visit, you got to have lunch or dinner downtown, outside on a patio somewhere.
Right.
Take a walk in the foothills, like head up to the Foothills Learning Center on 8th Street and start from there. Or even better, if you've got time, head up Bogus Basin Road and check out the Hawkins Loop because you get views of the city and a good sense of what our trails are like.
Yeah.
And then if you're in the summer, float the river or take a stroll or bike ride along the Greenbelt.
Yeah, I was shocked how many people are still out there floating. You know, it's like
it's a little cold right now.
Yeah, I was there this weekend. It was full. People were just going.
So obviously you are a huge advocate for the trails. Do you have a favorite one in the foothills you like to run on?
People ask me that. I've got a couple for different reasons and different things, but I do find the new Hawkins Loop that's not open the full year to be so stunning and really special. So that's one that's accessible. It's doable. You can do a 2-mile version of it or you can do a 5.5-mile version of it.
Okay.
I love. My all-time favorite is the Daniels Creek area. Those are longer, and that's lower than Hawkins, but in the same area. But those are two really special places. But on a daily, weekly basis, Heroes Trail that opened just a year and a half ago is so cool. It starts at the VA and it just goes into the military reserve, and
Love that.
a quick, easy
cool
walk
place.
with gorgeous views of downtown. And when the balsam root are out, I love going there because you see the Capitol, you see the downtown buildings, these hills, and then all these flowers. It's really pretty neat.
Wow. That is awesome. Heroes.
Heroes. Drive.
Cool.
I'll have to check it out.
All right. Awesome. Well, thank you so much for coming in and spending some time with us. Really appreciate it. Is there anything else you wanted to touch on or cover? Or?
Hey, I really appreciate the time and to get to talk about my favorite thing, which is talk about Boise.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
And look forward to seeing people out in downtown, in our neighborhoods, on the Greenbelt, in the trails. Don't hesitate to say hi if you see me out there.
Cool. Well, thank you, Mayor McLean. Appreciate it. And as everybody should know after listening to this, November 4th is a big day for Boise, so make sure you guys get out there and show up. So, cool.
Thanks so much, everybody.